Welcome to the Hair Notes podcast. I am your host, Maxine Green, owner and master stylist of Curly Dimension Salon. This podcast was created intentionally to assist you on your natural hair journey. Each week we will cover topics on products, topics that you have questions about, that you need clarity about. So if you're looking for a space and a place to get some clarification on what's the next step in your natural hair journey, this is the place for you. Every week, a new episode will drop. So grab a notepad and a pen and let's dive into today's episode. Welcome back into another episode of the Hair Notes podcast. So on today's podcast, I want to talk to you about the number system as it regards to curly hair. So often clients come in and they're always questioning, so what is my hair texture? Is it 4A? Is it 4B? Is it 4C? Well, or I get the phone calls or the consultation of clients who says, my hair is 4A or 4B, or I have 4A, 4B, or 4C hair. How can I get my curls defined? Or I don't know what to do with my hair, or I don't know which product to use. So let's address that whole number system for a second, right? While it may work for some, I don't personally believe in the number system. And here is why. No two curly girls are alike. And so I don't know or understand why you would want to box a curly girl into one demographics, right? Or box her into one particular curl texture. So because one curly client can have 2 to 3 or 4 even different curl patterns on her head, the idea that her hair is 4A or 4B makes no sense, right? So what I find that clients who go by the whole number system, they're often using the wrong products because the products are then marketed to them as this product is for 4A or 4B here, and so this would work well for you. But as a curly girl, if you are not aware or you don't know what your texture is, or you are then confused, or you think that your curls are 4B, right? So let's say, for instance, for an example, let's say your curl texture in the crown of your hair is a tighter curl pattern, meaning it shrinks up a lot more, it retracts, right? So once product is in the hair, it's shrink. Like the shrinkage is serious for you in that particular area of your head, right? Now, go to the nape of your neck, and that curl pattern is longer, it's looser, it's much more curlier. The products tend to absorb a lot better in that area of your hair. And then let's work towards the front of the hair, right? That is even a different curl pattern, right? That curl pattern is now looser, way looser than the center or the crown, way looser than the nape or the back of the head. So then how do you address all 3 quadrants? How do you address all 3 areas of your head? So what I find that most curly girls or most clients will say to me, well, Max, I use one product to address all, or I find myself using different products because I have so many different textures. I don't know what to do. Or my hair, when I try to style it, the curls look amazing in this one particular part of my head, i.e. the nape of the head or the back of the head, or my hair texture is so much prettier in the crown area. But then I get to the front area of my head and my curls are super loose. It's not curling. What do I do? The idea that one person or one curly client have one texture, or to say that she is only a 4A or 4B makes no sense, right? And so for me, I often tell the clients, I don't go by that system, right? And because I don't go by that system, I will then tell you what your curls are, or where I think your curls are, or how they appear to me, to the human eye, based on what I know, and then I'll give you a real scenario, or then I'll explain it a little bit better, right? So let's say, for instance, you come into the salon and you're coming for a consultation and you sit in my chair and you say, well, I don't know, or I don't understand what my texture looks like. I think it's 4A or 4B. That's okay because that's all you know, right? And you weren't taught what it actually is, right? Because one person can have 3 to 4 different textures or curl patterns on their head. So when you tell me that your texture is a 4B or 4C and you tried one product, let's say, for instance, a lighter hold product, and you got a very defined curl, and then you try the same product on the other quadrants of your hair or the other areas of your hair, and then the product is not as absorbed into your hair as it is in the center or the nape, or the product doesn't give you the definition that it gives you in the center, right? So let's say the center of your hair is a lot more tighter and the curls sit pretty, right? It's super hydrated, it's defined, you can see the definition of the curls, but then you get to the very top of your head and your hair is just like womp womp womp, it's just laying there, right? Do you then say that I have a 4B hair or 4C, or how do you then make the distinction of what your curl pattern is, or how do you then define what your curl pattern is at that point? Do you then say, well, my curls are looser and so I have to just shift, or it's a 4C at the very apex of the hair, right? Or the very top of the hair, or the front hairline, if you want call it, right? Or, and then you say my hair is a 4B or 4C in the center or the crown of the head. How do you know what your curl pattern is, or how do you know how to address that curl pattern based on what's in front of you? The only way for you to get a true analysis or a true idea of what your curls actually is, right, is for you to really go and seek the professional. Seek someone who specializes in curls and can give you a thorough assessment of your head and tell you what's going on at your nape, what's going on in your center, even going on the sides of your head, and what's going on the top. Get a full assessment of these quadrants or these areas of your head to get an overall view and an overall perspective of what exactly you're working with. So the idea is, when you know what your curl pattern is, the product choice becomes easy. The application of that product then becomes easy. The maintenance of your hair then becomes easy, right? Because now you know what to do. Now you know how to address it. Now you know how to move forward. And now you know how that finished look is going to be. So to say that one curl pattern, let's say, for instance, myself, I'm going to use myself and as an example. So my curls are super tight in the center of my hair. And here's a reason why. I'm a back sleeper. So pay attention to things like you sleeping on your back, you're laying your head against the headboard, you are laying, your head is resting against the headrest in your car if you're a driver, right? So pay attention to those things, right? The nape or the crown of the head, not the nape, but the crown of the head is the area where your moisture tends to go the fastest, or you tend to lose moisture within that area the quickest. Why? Because it's the back of your head and it's the area where direct sunlight is hitting very quickly. So that area tends to be a lot more dehydrated and the curls tend to be a lot tighter. But here's the trick about that. When the curls are tighter in that area, or the curls appear to be much shorter in that area, it doesn't mean that your hair is short and everything else is longer, right? So you can't say that I have 4B hair or 4C hair in that area and then everything else is a 4C. Does that make sense? Because that particular area is only compromised because of lack of moisture or too much your head resting, right? So no moisture is getting there, right? So we tend to not pay attention to that particular area, because what we do when we style in our hair, we style to make sure the front is well styled because that's the first thing you see, and that's the only thing you can kind of catch to or get to the quickest, and you can smooth it out the easiest, right? Or we style the back of the hair because, okay, if the back and the front looks good, but then when you get to the center, we get tired, our arms start to hurt. So we tend to drop our arms, right? And so no moisture or not enough product is applied in that area. The other thing to understand is that that area, the hair is oftentimes much longer in that area than it appears, right? So I often get the curly girls who say, the nape of my neck or the crown of my neck, not the nape, the crown of my hair or my head is super tight. So I don't know what to do. And it's always so much more drier than everything else, right? I think what I want you curly girls to understand is that when you are working with curls and when you're a curly girl and you are looking or trying to understand, what is my curl pattern? How do I dress these different areas of my head? Find yourself one product that really works well for you, right? And I said it before, and I'm going to keep saying it until you get it, right? Use one product and use it consistently for 3 to 4 weeks. Oftentimes what I find is that curly girls will use products and they'll use it and they'll swap from one product to the next within like a matter of a week or two. To address your concerns or your dryness or the dehydration areas, using one product or using a particular product for a week will not give you the results that you're looking for, right? So my offering to you as a curly girl, don't get caught up so much into the number system. Don't get caught up so much into my hair is 4A, 4B, so I have to kind of work with this particular product because that's what it says. I want you to really get a full analyze and get someone to fully analyze what your pattern or what your texture looks like. And you can only do that by seeking the consultation of a curly hair specialist, right? Allow them to really give you a full assessment of what your hair looks like or what your hair textures are. And then you can go from there. Allow them to give you some recommendation for product choices. Allow them to really style your hair and show you what your hair is capable of when using just one system. You don't have to use multiple products to address the different curl patterns within your hair, right? Because then that leads you to become a product junkie. It leads you to spending a lot of money, an obscene amount of money on products. And that's, you find yourself with a plethora of products and then you don't know which one works and which one doesn't. So I find that this was very like fitting, right? And I wanted to really talk to the curly girls because so many clients came and asked me, I don't know what my curl pattern is. I don't understand. And as a result of me not understanding, I don't know what to do and I can't really get the definition, right? So they're always referencing, and the first thing that comes to mind, because it's so inundated, right? Like we saw it all over. It's all on the internet. It's on products, right? Some manufacturers are marketing products or hair care products, targeting directly to like the 4A and the 4BCs and those, particular curl patterns. But that's essentially not the best way to go. It very well may work for someone, for some, but it's not efficient and it's just not feasible. And the reason why it's not conducive, or the reason why it really doesn't work or it doesn't make sense, is because one curly girl have so many different patterns. So to say, or the idea that you're addressing only one texture, or a curly girl only have one texture on her head, is absolutely false. That is not even an accurate description of a curly girl head. Right? If you are truly a hair specialist, or you're truly a curl specialist and you've worked with curly clients for some time, or let's say you notice your hair and your hair shifts and change, right? Because as we start to take our time and we're patient with ourselves in regards to taking care of our hair, we then notice different changes, right, in our hair, right? Our hair tends to change. The texture tends to change if you're using the right products, right? If you're taking care of yourself internally, you will see your texture change. You will see your curl pattern start to come out, right? So there's going to be a shift in the way your hair looks from the time you started your journey to where you are currently. One of the things that I want you guys to keep in mind is that because I have these different curl patterns, I don't need to box myself into this particular box, or I don't need to just use one product that will service or that manufacturers say will work well for my hair, right? What I want you to do is understand what your texture looks like, understand the different textures in your hair, and know that you don't have to have 5 or 6 different products to address all of those curls. You simply need one, right? You simply need a good one, and maybe a good cocktail, right? So a good conditioner, a good shampoo, a good styler, a good leave-in. Those are your core products that you will need to address your hair or to address the curls. The idea of using multiple products on different parts of your head makes no sense. I don't want you to get in the habit of having so many products under your kitchen cabinet, or having so many products under your bathroom sink, right? Because then you ultimately have a store and you can then sell your own products. But what I do want you to get in the habit of is really knowing or taking the time to know your hair, to understand what your curls actually do, and for you to really understand, like, okay, I have multiple curl patterns in my head, on my head, and I'm okay with that. I just know that I need one product, one core product, or one core system, not one product, so to speak, but one core system that really works well and that will give me the moisture, the hydration, the definition, right, that I so need for my hair. That includes, and that will cover all the textures on your hair. So to say that we're boxing ourselves into this one particular area or one particular zone is ludicrous, right? And it's crazy that so many people has jumped on that bandwagon for so long, right? And really they reference this for, and they market to that 4A, 4B, 4C, which it, as I mentioned, as I said, it works well for some, but the average curly girl does not have one curl pattern on her entire head. The average curly girl has multiple curl patterns. So to say that the average curly girl is a 4B or 4C texture is completely false, right? The average curly girl has multiple products and as multiple textures on her hair, and as a result don't need to address each pattern, each texture. She simply needs to understand what her texture can do and what products she needs to use to give her the style and the end results that she needs. All right, you guys, I know that this has been a lot, but this has been a topic and a subject that has been coming up so much in the salon. And I wanted to talk, I've been wanting to talk about this for some time, but I decided, I was like, I'm going to wait a bit, right? And I'm going to say, okay, let me just kind of hold off, right? Because so many clients, it's every day. I don't know what my curl pattern is. I'm a 4B, I'm a 4C. And so I just like, we have to talk about it. It's almost like the elephant in the room, right? We have to talk about the things that are more concerning to us, right? And in particular, African American texture, our texture is completely different. The fabric of our hair is completely different. Our hair tends to change as we start to take care of it, and it shifts, right? And you can find it looser, you can find it more dehydrated. If you're missing something or you're lacking something within yourself, you'll find it will tell in your hair, right? So the idea to say that we have one texture and we're only going to service that one texture, or we have one simple 4B pattern, and this is what we're going to go with, because across the board everyone else is this way or everyone is this way, is false. To simply say that one curly girl has one pattern, that's not realistic, and it's not ideal, and it's simply not being, it's not an accurate statement, or it does not help the average curly girl understand what her pattern looks like, what her actual pattern looks like, what her textures can do. And it doesn't address how does she now proceed with taking care of her hair. Because at this point, she not only is more confused, but she doesn't even know how to respond to, my hair is 4B, so what do I do? What does that mean? What exactly does that mean? What is 4B? I'm really trying to understand, like, what is 4B? What is 4C? Are you using the 4B and the 4C as a way of saying the tighter the curl, are we going in the alphabet according to the tightness of the curl? Because if that's the case, if that's what the reference point is, right, then I understand. I understand, like, the tighter the curl, the alphabet numbers, or the alphabet letters, not numbers, but the letters in the alphabet will go up, increase, right? I understand that, but it doesn't make any sense, right? And I get it. I get it why it was created, right? It was created to simplify, right? I get it. I totally understand why the number system or the letter system was created. It was created to kind of give us a sense of short-term reality or short-term answers for questions that we didn't know we have about our texture, right? Because the average curly girl wants to know what her texture is. But the average curly girl doesn't have one curl pattern. The average curly girl has 2 to 3 patterns, 2 to 3 different textures. So to use a lettering system to reference and to box us into this particular zone makes no sense. What I would love to see is that we really showcase curls. We really give real pictures, ideas of curl patterns that the average curly girls have, right? The average curly girl work with, or the average curly girl has 2 to 3 different textures, and then show those textures, and then you can see visually that that girl doesn't have one pattern. You can see visually that her curls are so different throughout her head, right? That lettering system is great, or it worked well for a season, but I really strongly believe that it really made no sense, and it was just a way to box us in, right, into one demographics or one particular area, right? So my stance on the lettering system is it doesn't exist, or it shouldn't exist, because it makes no sense. All right, you guys. So I know this was a lot. I covered a lot, and I kind of really wanted to talk about this topic. So until next time, y'all, I will see you on the next one. Have a blessed week, everybody.